Hello everybody and welcome to Freaky Fast Broadcasting and the US Freemasonry 150 from the Below the Double Yellow Xfinity series here at Iowa Speedway. Before we get to our introductions here, gonna go ahead and roll through our fine sponsors because they pay the bills. And we're gonna have Tricky. Tricky is a Facebook live streamer. He streams every Sunday through Friday, 7:30 Eastern. Follow him on Facebook with Tricky with 2 R's. Second sponsor we've got is Outlaw Desert Racing. Outlaw Desert Racing is a 501c3 nonprofit located in the Southwest. Adrenaline Therapy is a program being implemented where we place the military or first responder, active or veteran, into an off-road desert race vehicle as a navigator, to give them an adrenaline rush and become a team member with a sense of purpose again. We take them out of their element and show them that there is more to life and there are people who care. If you would like to learn more, check out their website or social media pages. Their website would be www.outlawdesertracing.com. You can find them on Facebook at Outlaw Desert Racing, Instagram, and TikTok at outlaw_desert_racing. And thirdly, Joe's Speed Team. Joe's Speed Team, a proud partner of the Below the Double Yellow Racing League. And we've also got our fine sponsor for Freaky Fast Broadcasting, the ButtKicker. Every game deserves a truly immersive experience. ButtKicker Gamer 2 lets you feel every detail from subtle footsteps to the rumble of a V10 powered race car. from ambient environmental effects to the power of a nearby explosion. By moving a physical mass instead of only air like a traditional speaker, the Gamer 2 provides instant, accurate, powerful bass response, and it's all perfectly in sync with every game with no additional software required. Well, I am Brandon Colley, and joining me in the booth today is going to be Sam Dyer, as well as our main man, Robert Moyer Jr., up running these fine camera angles for all of you guys to watch and enjoy this race along with us. So, Sam, Iowa, it's a tough track. What do you think we're going to be expecting out here tonight?
Well, I'm expecting to see a lot of drivers trying to hold on. I've been hearing from the drivers all practice long, loose sensation, and coming off these corners, it's going to be a tall order for these drivers to make sure that they can keep the car under them. So expecting a lot of tail whipping and trying to stay straight on these straightaways. And I think it's going to be a fun one here tonight. 150 laps. It is going to be a blast. There is a stage caution that will come out at the end of lap 75, but besides that, it is going to be a lot of hard racing. There should be some green flag pit stops, and expecting also cautions to be flailing at some point as well.
Absolutely. It's a tough old track, very bumpy, especially up on the top of turn 1 there, going in really high. There's a big bump you got to watch out for. And as the run goes on, traditionally, you overdrive a bit, that right front's gonna give way pretty quickly, and you're gonna have a hard time getting the power down off the corner. So they're gonna have to pay attention for that. And tight quarters racing, it's a fast little short track. Well, I consider it a fast little short track here in Iowa. And man, we got a big field out here tonight too. These guys are gonna have to be doing traffic management the entire evening.
Yeah, the potential of 39 drivers racing here tonight could be possibly even more than that, as we're still waiting for more drivers. Less than a minute until qualifying starts, and qualifying is where you really are going to be finding drivers in their money spots. If they can really be clutch on making sure they're up front. This is the first race of the season, so this qualifying run could really set the tone on how the season could be going, because Iowa, really track position is so important here at this short track. I mean, I also consider Iowa a short track as well. It's 0.88 miles in length, and it is a interesting course. Certainly pretty close, I would say, to Richmond of all the short tracks. It's gonna be a fun one here.
Yeah, the layout is very similar to Richmond. A little bit more banking to it and a little bit more speed, but the D-shaped short oval here, very similar. And just like Richmond talked about green flag pit stops earlier, if you're going to have to deal with green flag pit stops, you've got to be aware of how difficult this pit road entry is here. You've got to make such a hard left coming off the banking there out of turn 4 to get onto that pit road. Some guys may just miss it or run into the pit road entry. So always going to have to keep that in mind when you know you're coming down to have to make your pit stop.
Yeah, pit stop's going to be important. Honestly, if it stays green for most of this race, it could be a make or break moment. But for these drivers, it's now time to see how clutch you can be. You got 2 laps to try to put down the best lap time you can, as qualifying about to get set and underway. For practice, some of the faster drivers on top of the board, those to watch out for. That's got to be Stave Ferries, as well as Alex Pelican and James Loveland. Those were your top 3 during practice. They had a little bit of help from draft, but the draft shouldn't be too impactful here racing. But qualifying has started. Drivers starting to get on track.
Well, with this big of a field, like you said, Sam, you're really going to need to put down a really nice qualifying lap here. Get your early track position. You've got that stage break at halfway here. Try to set yourself up for a nice second half with good track position. Try to stay out of trouble early as well.
It's going to be Bradley Wilson that we're on board with in the 51 car, and excited to see what these Xfinity drivers are going to do. This is the first season that Below the Yellow Line are having an Xfinity series, so exciting to see a league expand. They were primarily known as a Cup series, and now expanding into another one. You never know, they might add a couple more later on.
I'm sure a lot of these guys are really excited to be running these Xfinity cars. I know most leagues only primarily run the Cup cars, and they're quite different in handling. A lot more really off throttle time and having to wheel it here is right now. Saif, he's up to first on the board here with that 24:32. Backing up his practice time right now. We'll see if he can stay there. And then Bryant Seaborn, shortly getting bumped down to third here. Bradley G. Wilson, that Adam Baker up to second. These guys are putting in some crazy times, positions changing everywhere.
And Wilson's going to be burning down. He was able to put down his 2 laps. So getting to have a little bit fun after qualifying. About 25 drivers have started their qualifying times. A couple have already finished up. But right now, it's going to be Ferry's top of the board with the 44 car and with a 24.321. That's about a tenth slower than what his practice time was. So not too far off, but these times extremely quick. Your top 5 all within a tenth of one another so far.
Well, and I expect the times to really fall off once the race gets underway here. You're going to put down a lot of heat on the track, as well as just the sun is absolutely baking the surface right now. Track temp at 100 degrees. And then James Loveland now putting himself on top of the board in that 56 with a 24.29. Pretty quick lap.
Yeah, got to be 300ths faster than what Ferries was putting down. So James Loveland, he was 3rd fastest during practice, top of the board currently, and now we're on board with the 13. This is going to be Jordan Schaeffler, who's going to be one of those drivers that's expecting to try to bump up a couple more positions, currently 31st, and hoping this second lap is going to go a little bit faster than he was doing before. Up to 20th now. That's quite a bump, moving up 10 positions from your first lap to your second.
Yeah, not quite the best qualifying effort, but it's definitely 10 positions is still 10 positions here. That's 10 extra guys you're not going to have to worry about at the start of this race, so you will take that, I am sure.
As qualifying is slowly coming to a close here, drivers still have about a minute and a half to go. Looks like we're going to be seeing the 20 being one of the last drivers to try to put a lap down. It's going to be Joey Means. It's going to be coming out on track. And this is our first time really seeing a lot of these drivers. We know a couple of these drivers that have raced in other leagues that we broadcast here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. And get to see Means is one of those newer drivers that we haven't really seen here on Freaky Fast. So exciting to see what some of these new faces have in pace and how well they can do up front.
Well, that's always the fun of starting a new league, getting to experience different talents and get more names out there to these or to our lovely fans and get these guys some exposure.
Oh, Means getting loose off of 4, and you see the 20 sliding across and not crossing the line, luckily. So still should have at least one more lap to put down.
Is running out of time now, as we've got less than 40 seconds now for qualifying. So, oh no, it's a 15-minute qualifying. Never mind, he's got plenty of time.
Well, the drivers, they have 5 minutes for qualifying, and then they're told to park it for those last 10 minutes to have a drivers meeting, and then they'll talk things over, getting the drivers set up and prepared for the season, and also going to give us a little bit of time to talk about the drivers and some of the times they put down, and also, again, talk about sponsors and some other exciting things they get prepared for us. Maybe some strategies we can talk about. As Means coming around turn number 2, still got a couple of times. I think the admins are going to allow this time to come through, but this is going to be our final lap of qualifying.
Well, not ideal for Joey Means. Generally, you want that first lap to get some temp in the tires here. We'll see what he can come up with.
It's going to be 32nd for Means.
Yep, really hurt himself by spinning and coming out of turn 4 on his first lap there, but it's not exactly a short race, and that stage break right in the middle definitely helps. Like I said, you just kind of want to set yourself up for a good second half of this race after the stage. So there's plenty of time for him to make up that track position that he's going to lose on his qualifying time.
A ton of time to make up, and with that first stage, giving you some thoughts on how you could be aggressive, and with it being a new season, it's going to be a lot of learning for a lot of these drivers. I know some of them are coming from Cup down to race here in the Xfinity. Other drivers are just new to this league, so they're going to be experiencing some new driving types. And the first couple of races, it's kind of a hit or miss on how well drivers are going to be running around one another, just because you could be bumping into someone, not expecting their driving style to be as aggressive or as passive, especially with the short track racing. Those braking zones are going to be something that's we're going to have to watch out for these first about 20 laps if people are going to be running over one another.
Absolutely right. Like you said, first race of the season here, and if a lot of these guys haven't run in the Cup Series together, like you said, the first couple races, you just spend a lot of time being a lot more, I guess, patient than you would normally be, just trying to figure guys out. Their type of driving style. Are they aggressive into the corner? Are they, a little bit more passive when they get behind you? Are they going to try to dive bomb it in just to take the position here? These are all things that you're going to be watching out for. And then once you figure it out about a couple races in, then it's kind of gloves are off, and everybody finds their speed, finds the rhythm, and where they're going to be running in the field each and every week. And we'll really start to see a lot of guys shine at that point, I believe.
Yeah, it also gives moments for these drivers to maybe build up some rivalries of drivers that are going to be running around. It's exciting how this season's going to go. I do want to let the audience know we still have about 7.5 more minutes to go here in the drivers' meeting. So it's going to be a little bit until we get the drivers set up and ready to go. But it is a fun season that's about to start here. This is the first time that Below the Yellow Line has had the Double Yellow Line that has had a Xfinity League. So excitement is in the air. We are excited as well for this season to start up. This season, it's going to be a real quick one. There's not a lot of races, about 10, 11 races the drivers are going to be racing in. So, your season, you have to start out pretty well early on, or you are going to be setting yourself in a hole that might be impossible to dig out of.
That's exactly right. With a short season like this, there are shorter seasons that I've seen leagues run, but in any short season, it's all about consistency. You really cannot afford to have too many bad races where you get collected into an incident and come out of it with a poor finish. I believe with this current schedule here, you're gonna maybe be able to afford one bad race where you're just like, okay, you know what, chalk it up and we'll go on the next week. But after that, you're going to have to keep your head on a swivel here and try to keep all four corners on this car and come out of it with a good finish to really have a chance at the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, in total, looked back at it, it's going to be 10 races that these drivers are going to be racing in. And, we're starting it off in Iowa, which is pretty different from most leagues. Usually you start off at Super Speedway racing at Daytona to start things off. But we go from Iowa to Texas and then Pocono, and then we move on to Michigan. So those first 4 races, completely different from one another.
Yeah, look, when I saw this schedule for the first time and saw Iowa's season opener, I was like, oh boy. I know if I was in a league, I'd be dreading the first race of the season if it were Iowa. But man, it shakes things up pretty early. Like you said, the first 4 races very different from one another, and then after that we go to North Wilkesboro, a little bit more similar to Iowa, the short track feel. But from Texas with the high speeds to the low banking in 1 and 2, Pocono with the long straightaways in the 3 different corners, then Michigan, which is pretty much just a smaller super speedway, really. These guys are gonna really have to flex their talent and their racing knowledge here to come out with some decent points for the first 4 races.
Seeing a couple of people in our chat rooting for their favorite teams, and if you got a team that you are hoping for or driver that you're rooting for, put it in the chat. Who do you think's going to be winning the first race of the season here at Iowa? Got 150 laps we are excited for, and it's exciting to see this season get started as we are still waiting for the race to begin. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we are going to be getting the race gridded up and ready for this season to start. We'll be back in just a few.
When we're laying on our deathbed, you're not going to worry about how much money you had, how much power you had, how much prestige. You're going to see that was all game, that was all an illusion. The only thing that's going to matter is the impact you had on other people's lives.
We are all on a separate journey. But the beautiful thing about my life here on this earth is at my funeral. They won't talk about my success. They'll talk about who I was, and how I lived, and how I loved and encouraged. For the last 3 centuries, our craft has helped us and our brothers before us develop from who we were to who we are now. As Masons, we honor and value meaningful relationships with our families, with our brothers, and with our communities. We are needed to bring relief to those most vulnerable in our society. We are needed to bring hope to those with fewer opportunities than ourselves. We are needed to bring light to a new generation. We are Masons, and we are always here when people need us, because we believe it is our responsibility to help make this world a better place. We live these values by helping those in need. And now, in this modern world, we're needed more than ever.
When you were born, you cried while the world rejoiced. Live your life in such a way that when you die, the world cries while you rejoice.
I got it. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. It's race time. Drivers about to get gridded up here in the next minute and a half here at the Below the Double Yellow Xfinity Series for race number 1 for the U.S. Freemasonry 150. 150 laps to be ran, and it is exciting to be seeing this race going on. Brandon, we are getting ready for this field. It is looking like we're going to have about 39 drivers in total getting ready to be on track racing in this first race of the season. I mean, everyone's there. They've been waiting. Drivers meetings been going on for the last 10 minutes. Means these drivers have been sitting and waiting, and usually that means tensions are high and cautions are expected to be seen.
Yeah, it sitting around, same thing as getting like a red flag. If you're, you ever watch a real life NASCAR race here, that you just kind of have a lot of time with your thoughts, and you can really spend a lot of time overthinking. Okay, what strategy do I need to go with? How aggressive do I need to be? Just a lot goes through your mind. You just got to take a lot of time to relax here, and after about the first 3 laps, that all kind of goes away. But quick caution just kind of sets that right back to the forefront here, just thinking. And a lot of times your mind can be your worst enemy as a race car driver. You can really think your way into a box.
Yeah, and for a lot of these drivers, we're going to be starting side by side once this race gets started, and expecting to see a lot of side-by-side racing, possibly 3-wide action at times, and who knows, we might even see 4-wide racing. It is exciting to see. Qualifying and the drivers meeting has come to a close, and that means it's time for the drivers to grid up, for us to run through the names, and for you all to get ready for 150 laps of racing here at Iowa. Like we said, it's the U.S. Freemasonry 150. That was the commercial you saw. Freemasonry, thank you so much for sponsoring today's race. We're excited to see how this race is going to go. Here is your grid. It's going to be James Loveland going to be taking the pole, as well as Safi Ferry going to be taking second place with Adam Baker, as well as Bradley Wilson, Alex Pelican, as well as Brian Seaborn, Nick Starley, as well as we're going to be seeing that of Atkins Gardner, and then your 10th place position, it's going to be Jeremiah Vincent.
Rolling off 11th is Alan Dice, 12th Mark Beverly, 13th Anthony Pelican, 14th Eric Hutton, 15th Dennis Faircloth, 16th Jacob Houston, 17th Chris Wheeler, 18th Nathaniel Ostrowski, 19th Kyle McGarvey, and 20th Dylan Teal.
And it's going to be Jordan Scheppeler, as well as going to be in 22nd Francisco. God, we're going to get your last name at some point. Kotani, I'm going to guess, but I'm guessing that is wrong. And then we've also got Sulfridge, Alves, Pearl, as well as Steele. And we also got Sullivan, the lanes sold fridge. So we got 2 sold fridges in the field. Zach Smith, Kevin McGarvey, as well as Kyle Payne. And that is going to be your top 31.
And 32nd, Joshua Abe. 33rd is going to be the 20 of Joey Means. We saw him in qualifying. 34th, Thomas Brendel. 35th, Timmy Emmanuel. 36th, Brett Somers. 37th, Mark Emerson. 38th, Justin Carey, 39th, Jordan Brockle. And 40th, Robert Gilmore in the 40. That's a pretty nice spot to start as the car number 40.
Yeah, and for Gilmore, he's going to be starting back there. Do want to note, Mark Emerson, he is actually going to be our race control for tonight's race. So he accidentally didn't mean to register as a driver, but he did get that sorted out. So a total of 39 drivers going to be on track. It's going to be Loveland, top of the board. Excited to see this season finally coming to a start. Excitement's in the air, and Brandon, 150 laps. First 75 going to be your stage 1, and then we split it up. What do you think some of these drivers are thinking right now?
Well, I think some guys at the back are thinking, okay, I've got to kind of push it here. I know I'm going to get a guaranteed caution midway. I've got to get as much as I possibly can. And the guys at the front going to be taking a lot more easy. If I'm at the front here, I'm thinking, all right, I don't need to lead every lap. It'd be nice if I've got the pace to do so, but see where the tires are at. Take it easy, try to conserve just a little bit and figure out where my speed is and watch the guys that are maybe a little bit faster, see what I can improve upon, and see if that translates to any more speed toward the second half of the race.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of learning can be done here. And also, something we haven't really touched on, that's going to be fuel strategy and tires expected for this race. They are expected to pit one time. If we stay green through the whole entire stage 1 or stage 2, these drivers will have to make a green flag pit stop. And the fuel runs around 50 to 55 laps. We'll see how far those drivers feel like pushing it. And the pace car lights are off. We're going this time by Excitement, the U.S. Freemasonry 150 about to start for the double yellow Xfinity series. Well, drivers have been amped up. They've been waiting for about 10 minutes. They've been off track for that long. And now it's time to see how well they're going to be doing here for 150 laps. I hope everyone in the audience is ready for this one, as the pace car is off, and we are green here at Iowa.
It looks like a little bit of a checkup there, about 10th on back. Maybe somebody missed a gear here. They're all sorted out now, going through 1 and 2. Some guys up a little bit high and a little bit of door bumping already.
Yeah, it looks like the 25 Mark Pepper going to be having a little bit of an issue for himself, going to be going a little bit too high. But Beverly got it all sorted out, and also up front, they're sorting things out. Side-by-side action is going on for second place, though.
Well, seeing a lot of these guys trying out different lanes here. Back, I'm watching Cody Atkins, and he's already put 3 wide on the outside coming out of turn 2 here by Jeremiah.
4 wide now.
Yeah, 4 wide like you talked about. It's already getting exciting. These guys are not wanting to take it easy. They're saying, you know what, season's finally started. Let's go.
Like I was saying, you got drivers that are passive, those that are aggressive, and sometimes they mesh, and you get in those moments where they're 4 wide at moments, and it is scary to see types of moves like that. Up front, still Loveland, Ferries, and Baker staying in line. Ferries thinking about making a pass here for the lead, and here comes the 44 down low, trying to make a pass on Loveland.
Seeing pretty much the top 10 running along the bottom in 3 and 4. I expect that line to move up here within the next 10 laps. Generally, the high side in 3 and 4 tends to be the quick way once the tires wear out. But you can, if you take care of your stuff, make that bottom work.
Yeah, it's one of those things of, especially with the new iRacing update that came out a couple of weeks ago, it's allowed the drivers to try to work on different lanes. Multi-grooves really work out. Driver has spun around. That's going to be Kyle McGarvey, who's going to be going around in the 27. He's spun out at 2, hard into the wall, blown engine. His day is done.
Really not what you want to have happen lap 5. And like I talked about earlier, you've only really got that one race that you can chalk up as a loss and go get it. And you do not want to spend that one race at the very first race of the season. So unfortunate start already for some drivers.
Yeah, some leagues, they have a fast repair, and this one they do not. So damage that you get, you have to go into pit road and get that repaired, and that takes time. Whatever damage you get, it takes a certain amount of time to get repaired. Is caution coming out. Massive calamity coming out of turn 2. More cars being spun around.
Looked like that started between the 11 and the 13 of Jordan Scheffler going into turn 1.
Oh boy. We're trying to get the replay, but this is going to be a big one here as it's coming through turns 1 and 2. Here's our Freaky Fast Broadcasting replay. Scheffler's going to be coming down and just, oh man, that is a rough way to get contact, and it now sets everyone else up where they really have nowhere else to go. There's just a wall coming out of 2.
Yeah, really unfortunate. We talked about early, seeing if guys were going to be aggressive, trying to figure out the guys you're racing around, are they going to be aggressive, try to dive into the corner here, really make a pass as soon as they catch you? And unfortunately, it looked like Francesco in the 11 just a little bit hot into the corner, maybe stepped on the brakes. The car just did not turn anymore. A little bit of contact and an overcorrection by the 11 as well, coming back up and essentially finishing off the 13 right up in front of the rest of the field behind him there. A little bit of surface damage for a few guys, maybe some engine damage for others, but good news is the B car, with the off-throttle time that you have, damage doesn't hurt you quite as bad as the Cup car.
Just got word. This is actually the first time that we've here on the Freaky Fast Broadcasting have broadcasted an Xfinity series in over 2 years. So it's a new season for these guys, and it's new for us. It's been a while since we've seen Xfinity cars here, and it's exciting to see these drivers running, like you said, Brandon, earlier. It's a completely different car from what it's like in the Cup Series.
Yeah, and I hadn't realized that it had been 2 years since we'd done an Xfinity League, and I tell you, I don't know if Robert can vouch for it, but when I heard that we were going to be doing an Xfinity Series League on Mondays, I got really excited because it's not something that comes up very often. Like we said, it's mostly the Cup cars and occasionally Truck Series, and those 2 cars, the trucks are a little bit slower, but they handle a lot like the Cup cars. And my personal favorite has become these Xfinity cars as of late. They're just so fun to drive, and I'm glad we got a league, not only a league to do it, but a league with a lot of guys willing to get out here and really wheel these things around.
Yeah, they were wheeling it for sure. First caution of the day. We do have, Lyle Surfer Fridge going to be in pit road trying to get damage repair, as well as Kyle McGarvey is blew his engine coming out of 2. We did have a couple of other drivers, Payne, Sheppel. They came in for repairs, as well as Faircroft. And then we also had ourselves of Nick Alves and Sullivan coming in just to get some tires and also slight repairs. But now we got drivers in the back with fresher tires. It's only been about 8 to 9 laps that they ran green on these tires. Is that going to be a major thing to watch out for? Is fresher tires going to be that much better?
Well, fresher tires seem to, especially short tracks, they always seem to be really good for a short amount of time, and then it kind of evens out pretty quickly. And especially the guys who are trying to drive through the field pretty hard, they're gonna really put a lot of heat in those tires trying to make those aggressive moves. For a short run with this amount of people in the field, you're going to be able to make up spots, which it's not going to get you to the lead from the back of the field. And also talking about the tires, we have a limit of 5 sets in the pits for tonight's race. So you're going to be able to kind of be liberal with your pit decisions on when you're going to want to come in under, if there's a caution, and say, hey, should I take tires now? You're not going to have to try to conserve them as much as possible, because realistically, you're only needing to pit 3 times for fuel during this race. So you've got a lot of opportunities with these quick cautions like this to say, okay, I can get some type of an advantage if I come in and I'm willing to use one of these sets a bit early.
Yeah, also want to give a big thanks to Mark Emerson, who's going to be in the who's going to be chatting and giving you live updates of penalties that are to be given out. As you can see, the 13 given a penalty EOL, and that penalty is due to cause that the 13 was the cause of that caution. So he'll be starting at the end of the line. That's what an EOL stands for.
Well, actually, really happy to see that they take the stance on cautions. Not a lot of leagues do, and it kind of makes guys play it a lot more passively, knowing if you're you're getting involved with something like this, you could try to make some passes and be aggressive. But if you cause an accident, you could find yourself at the back of the line, really giving up positions for free, just trying to gain one.
Yeah,
We're
gotta
back
be
to green.
careful. Gotta be extremely careful about where you're gonna be placing yourself. And like I said, we are green. Loveland going to be making that charge up front. Ferry's going to be following suit, but side by side, here comes Wilson trying to make the pass on the outside.
Really good run out of turn 2 there. See if you can follow it up out of turn 4. You get that sweeping front straightaway. You can carry a lot of momentum there.
Trying to stay low, trying to pinch the 44 Ferries, and trying to do the best that he can so far. As our field is, they're doing the best they can. Everyone's kind of staying side by side still from about an 8th on back. Our front, about 8th. They're doing a great job staying single file and trying to make some moves.
Well, we saw Wilson going down into turn 1 there. He got in really high, couldn't get the car to turn, hit that big bump in the top of turn 1 there. Really had to roll out of it and allowed himself to give up the fight for that second position, but still slotted 3rd here, just waiting for his opportunity.
And will they strike? Again, all these drivers on old tires. Driver that is making moves on the newer ones is going to be Dallas Sullivan. He's going to be all the way back in 30th place. A slight damage for the 46, but he is doing quick work. Already has passed 3 drivers, making his way up to 29th.
Yeah, up a couple positions here in just a short amount of time, but with the field spread out like this, it kind of negates that advantage. You're going to have to spend a lot more time, but it looks like we've got contact in turn 2. Car on the apron now.
It's going to be Chris Wheeler, going to be spun around for the 22. And it looks like you're going to get a little bit of help through the middle of the corner through 1 and 2, and this is going to be one of those spots that we're expecting to see a lot of drivers having issues.
And you can see right there that, going into turn 2, you can carry a lot of momentum. And unfortunately, carry a little bit. The car does not want to turn. And just a little bit of tap from the 8 to the 22 sent him around there. A little bit of damage, but not near as bad as we saw with our first caution.
Yeah, luckily, Wheeler was able to keep the 8 car off the wall, which that is probably one of the most important things. Make sure you don't make any contact with the 8 of Jacob Houston. You're going to have to figure out and hope that he doesn't have too much damage with that little bit of contact as well.
Well, as far as Jacob Houston goes, just a little bit of contact from the 22 coming back down the track there. A little bit of wrinkle on his right rear. Not too bad, not going to hurt him too much. Mainly you're focusing on how bad's the damage on the nose. It's where you're going to have your splitter down on the track trying to keep that thing sealed off. You get some splitter damage, it's going to hurt your speed for sure.
Again, a major thanks to our race control of the night, Mark, for giving us the rules on how the EOL system works. So if you get 1, it's a warning. You'll just be sent to the end of the line. If you get 2, you start at the end of the line as well as have a drive-through. If you get your 3rd EOL in the same race, you're going to be parked with a disqualification. So drivers have to be careful. They cannot be involved and start these many cautions or could be causing an issue. The 22 hit with the EOL for that caution, though.
Now, what I heard right there is 3 strikes and you are out.
Yeah, pretty much. And it is going to be a tough one for these drivers. And now the question of when do you want to come into the pits and get some tires? And it looks like a driver is trying some of his strategies out. Dylan Teal, in the 19, he's going to be going all the way to the back, getting some fresh rubber. And doesn't look like he was caught up in anything, just deciding, hey, let's see how well we can drive through the field. Also, with the timing of this caution, we'll be able to make it to the end off of fuel. So this could be setting Teal up for track position once our front, about 20 drivers, 25 drivers have to pit later on in this stage.
That's exactly what I was just crunching the numbers, trying to figure out, if you're not quite up toward the front there, maybe decide, hey, How close are we on fuel here? We're not going to give up too much track position, but it'll looks like some guys electing to give up quite a bit here to top off and see if they can make it to the end. And if they can get that green flag run to the end of this stage, Dylan Teal, the 40 or the 84 of Jordan Brockwell, excuse me, they're going to be sitting in pretty good position to really jump everybody else by not having to come into pit and just ride it out to the end of the stage. Might pick up a stage win that way if everything goes according to plan.
Looks like the lights staying on for another lap, so we'll be going another one around. But yeah, honestly, the different talks of strategy really throws in, especially with how important stage points can be for those drivers that don't get a win. If you can get a lot of stage points, that is an incredible boost that you can get later on for these drivers that are trying to make a charge for. It's a great equalizer to the drivers that are just dominating and winning, but aren't getting those stage wins.
And that's one of the things that I really like about leagues introducing stages, because you can have guys that are just seemingly going out each and every week, and they not always necessarily win, but they're always up there contending and leading a lot of laps, getting those extra points for doing that. These stages allow guys to try something different and kind of bridge that gap where they don't necessarily always finish at the front. They're not always leading laps, but just playing the right strategy here and gaining those stage points where others are not. It's a really good equalizer.
Yeah, I'm looking over at, you know, what the schedule is looking like, and I do not believe that there is a playoffs for these drivers. So, with no playoffs, means that those stage points are incredibly important if for you to even have a shot, for the championship, because you could possibly, if you win the stage and then finish in about, eighth, ninth position, you can get more points than what the winner of the race gets, and that is a great way that you could win this championship with 0 wins, but just with consistency. That is going to be an interesting call for a lot of these drivers, but pace car lights are off. We're going this time by Brandon. Got to see a couple of short stints. Haven't gotten to see our long green flag run. But, drivers up front, they seem to be clean. It's a lot of that chaos in the back half of the field that's been bringing out these cautions.
It really has, and I imagine a lot of guys are going to be paying close attention to that turn one entry now, seeing 2 cautions happen in pretty much the exact same spot.
Pace car rolls off, and we are green once again. Loveland, great launch for himself on the outside, and that's something to take note. Loveland is taking the outside approach on these restarts, thinking that that is a better place to put himself and a slight advantage when he can get going compared to the rest of the field. Everyone's doing pretty well for themselves. Wilson once again diving it low this time compared to him being stuck on the outside last run.
Well, the outside did not quite work for him the last time he tried to make this pass for the second position here. See if he can maybe force the 44 to run him a little bit high like he did and get caught in those bumps. But right now, maybe a little bit too shallow of an entry. Can't quite get the roll through the center, but still a pretty good run off. Still fighting side by side. Now down into 3.
Keeping it close and still trying to figure out how to get enough momentum off the corner, possibly slide in front of the 44, but the outside holding strong on the straightaways. That momentum you can carry and pull off such greater, and this is what short track racing gives you. It's the battle between, do you want a better entry where you're just sending it a little bit harder than everyone else, or do you want that better exit off where you're just rolling it a little bit more?
Well, short track racing, generally the way to go is you want that drive off the corner, and the entry that we were seeing Bradley Wilson have, he's just really cutting it in pretty hard on the entry there, washing up a little bit this time by, whereas you'll see the 44 is kind of sweeping out his entry quite a bit, allowing him to really roll through the center a lot better and get back to the throttle sooner. As we got a caution.
Caution in the back. Looks like that is going to be Cody Atkins being spun around coming out of 2. 81 car was in the middle of the pack, was currently running in 12th place, battling hard at the time with, I believe, that of the 14, Nathaniel Ostrowski. And yeah, Ostrowski as well as Atkins making contact, bringing out caution number 3.
Little bit of a wash up from the 14 there, door tap, and just sent the 81 around. Really good job by Cody to keep that thing out of the wall. saved himself some damage there. Just warmed up the tires a little bit, but no worse for wear.
That was your Freaky Fast Broadcasting replay. As now we're seeing a bunch of cars darting to the inside, total of 4 and more, following suit from about 8th on back, all deciding it's time to come into the pits.
Well, I think this really plays out well for Dylan Teal. Pitting last time didn't really get that long of a run here. Going to get a lot of track position by all these guys deciding to come into pit right now. And it looks like Adam Baker at least ahead, Ferries and Loveland not pitting so far. Actually, even more than that, I believe Timmy Emanuel in 7th is the last car in the front pack there that is not pit. So these guys are still going to have to come in here. I'm wondering if they're just expecting a lot of these quick cautions like this and just save a lot of fuel under caution, maybe be able to make it to the end. But that's a pretty tall order. That's an extra 25 laps you're going to have to make it to the end of this stage.
Yeah, I was talking to some of the drivers asking what their fuel run was looking like, and a lot of them were saying anywhere from 54 to 58 was the window if you were pushing it hard. And even with the 3 cautions we've had, maybe they've saved up to possibly 5 laps at this point or more. But I do not see how it is possible to save over 20 laps of fuel. That is a lot of fuel you got to be saving.
You could do it, but I mean, you pretty much got to have a caution come out, almost immediately after the last restart, and just as soon as it comes out, you're just riding around in 4th gear, clutching it as much as possible, max fuel saving. But even then, it's definitely going to be close because, I mean, yeah, you're running lower RPMs under caution, but you're still going to be burning fuel.
I do want to give note, Kyle McGarvey, who blew his engine, looked like his day was done, has gotten repairs finished, and is back out on track, currently 14 laps down. But with it being a short track, there's plenty of time for drivers to be wrecked out and for him to gain positions, especially with how large of a field we have here tonight.
That's exactly right. And, hats off to Kyle, sticking that out, getting those repairs done to get back out here. Because like you said, there's no playoffs here. There's no safety net. It's not winning you're in. Every point matters. And especially, first race of the season, if you can get back out there and try to salvage even a handful of points, if he can go from finishing 39th to maybe 36th, those extra points, that might be the difference at the end of the season between finishing 1st or 2nd in the championship.
Yeah, and McGarvey, he qualified in the middle of the field, so a driver that is looking for up and up. And some drivers, they feel comfortable at short tracks, others don't. So maybe this was a race that he felt like he was just going to chalk up and try to make sure he can focus on the rest of the season. But he's going to have to do it now, especially with how damaged his car is. But for everyone up front, like you said, our top 7 still have not pitted. And also some other drivers, Brandel as well as Gilmore. Those are 2 other drivers, so a total of 9 that still need to pit here tonight. And also to finish out the stage, I think also you could throw in possibly Justin Carey, who pitted on our first caution of the night, but that was way too early to try to push it out as far as you could.
Yeah, a lot of these guys through these cautions we've had so far have made a lot of track position gains. Talked about Robert Gilmore, he's up 27 positions. Justin Carey 26th, Thomas Brendel 23, Timmy Emanuel 27. So these guys are making up a lot of track position just by trying to stay out here and see how things go. But eventually they're gonna have to pit. Maybe it's some kind of long play strategy that they're putting together for the second half of this race. But I'd imagine everybody's pretty much going to come in for the stage break to top off on fuel. So we'll have to see how that plays out.
Stage break comes at the start of lap 76. So right at the halfway marker, caution comes out as drivers are getting lined up and ready here. As looks like this car pulls off and we are about to go green.
Green flag, green flag.
And we are green. It's going to be Loveland taking us around the corner, stuck on the high side. Going to be the 88 of Hutton, who's going to be now ducking it low, trying to make an aggressive move here on Ferries. And as drivers are rocking around here on this restart. Do want to say Facebook is live, and it looks like we're having some issues. And now, quick caution going to be coming out as we go to look at what's going on in the back half of the field with this caution. Do want to note, please go over to Facebook. The stream seems to be not having as many frame issues, so go like and go follow Facebook and go get a better stream experience for yourself. Thank you for coming over here on YouTube and checking it out. Hopefully we'll get this fixed here shortly, but thank you so much.
As I like to say, technical issues are indeed technical.
They're always just lingering there, technical issues. As oh man, caution did come out. Brandon, did you see where the caution was?
I did not. Oh no. I just saw Bradley Wilson made look like he went to make a late move to get onto pit road here and ended up getting turned by another car at the entry to pit road.
As drivers getting ready for pit lane entry, that chaos happens. So drama here getting ready, and a drama between drivers as they're trying to debate on what exactly happened trying to get into pit lane. But man, looks like found out what happened. It was going to be Nick Alves, and it also looks like Dennis Steele making some contact between one another on the entry of 3, where Alves and it looked like both drivers looking for the same real estate, and that's what's going to be bringing out our 4th caution of the day.
Well, you know, at least they decided to swap it to the other end of the track this time here and try their luck in turn 3 instead of turn 1 and 2 this time.
Yeah, I mean, both corners are both very dangerous. That of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. You just never know when the chaos is going to be coming out for these drivers. And this was kind of a little bit expected. It's the first race of the season. A lot of these drivers still trying to get used to each other's racing styles, and short track racing brings out caution sometimes. And Iowa brings out sometimes the best and sometimes the worst of drivers.
Well, I know Iowa brings out the worst in me. I don't think I've ever had a really good race here, although I can remember one time I managed to somehow sneak a win in the trucks here at Iowa, but generally it's just misfortune at Iowa. Can't seem to wrap my head around this place, and I do not envy these guys at all out here for 150 laps in the B car trying to put together something here to have a good race. It's definitely not a place that I'd circle on the calendar.
I mean, for some people, they like this course. Like I said, it's similar to Richmond. But for some drivers, they're just like, you know what? Let's just survive the race. Let's get a top 15, top 10 finish. And that's good enough. That's a good enough day for us. Let's go conquer and do better for the rest of the season. Like we said, it's a 10-race season for these drivers that has just started up here today. And it's exciting. This is the first time here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting that we've had an Xfinity race in over 2 years. Exciting for it to start, and also the first time that Below the Double Yellow Line has had an Xfinity series first season. It's come to a start. Exciting how it all has come together for tonight's evening here for the U.S. Freemasonry 150 at Iowa. 150 laps. Been exciting. Brandon, we've been able to see half of stage 1 coming here, and so what are some of your thoughts so far of stage 1?
Well, I was actually thinking about it, I believe right as this caution came out, that I'm pretty surprised. We haven't seen anybody really trying the really high lane in 3 and 4 there. Everybody's really been low to middle so far this run. We haven't got that really long run yet to see the tires quite wear in. These quick cautions are allowing them to cool off and kind of rejuvenate themselves just a little bit. Interested to see if they can find any type of speed up there as the race goes on. But it's been a really exciting race, a lot of battling, all over the place, really hard to keep up with. I've been panning back and forth through the field here, just trying to find, everything going on. And, I even missed that last caution. Couldn't have told you what happened there. There's just so much going on here. So it's really exciting to be out here. And like I said, man, I'm having a lot of fun with the Xfinity cars. Really glad we get to call a race, and now a whole season with Below the Double Yellow. So I'm looking forward to Monday nights.
It is a blast. We are coming up to 40 laps left here in stage 1. We race to the start of lap 76. Then stage 1 comes to a close. Top 10, they get bonus points. The rest of the field, they are going to be hunting to get inside the top 10. Pace car pulls off. We'll see if we get a long green flag run, or if we're going to get another quick caution as James Loveland once again on the outside. Great start for himself. And you've got drivers behind him trying to scatter around to see where they can place themselves.
Still side-by-side battling here through turn 1. This is the one good thing about Iowa is that it's really easy to run side-by-side here. And I'm looking at Anthony Pelican, and he's just being really aggressive. Went top to bottom on entry of 3 and 4 there. Got a lot of speed in that 98 right now, looking to crack his way into the top 10 before the end of this stage.
Yeah, I mean, there's aggressive racing there back in around 10th place. And then also the battle for the lead. You got Eric Hutton, who's been one of those drivers I wasn't expecting to see up front, but due to the way that a lot of strategies went, decided to stay out when a lot of other drivers that decided to pit, and now is driving up front, battling for the lead. Started back in 14. Right now, probably given the best challenge we've seen for Loveland, but quick caution coming out, middle of the field, as a lot of drivers scattering on the entry of 1, and it is a pileup.
Oh man, that is a big wreck.
That's over about 8 drivers all scattered and caught up in this thing, if not more.
Well, Nick
man.
Gardner in the 16 looks like is where it started, but you know that the wreck happened at the start finish line, but I think that started turn 3 and 4 there. The 16 got sandwiched between the 11, and it looks like the 34 got a little bit out of shape up the racetrack, caught the wall on the front stretch, and around the nose or off the nose of the 34 rather to cause this one.
There's a 8 involved in another one. We saw the 11 as well. But yeah, no, just so many drivers caught up in this wreck. And a lot of, drivers still trying to communicate to figure out this situation, but that was just a pile up. And that's what short tracking gives you, is type of carnage right there. As you see, the start of the field, all coming in. Loveland starting the train.
And just looking back at that again, I gotta feel really bad for the 99 and Nick Starling. Really to the inside of this caution when it started. And unfortunately, 16 just came and hooked him in the right rear, and nothing he could do about that. Had that happen to me, and it's pretty startling to be looking forward, and suddenly you're looking right at the fence.
Yeah, I mean, you're running clean, you're staying out of everyone's trouble low, and then you're caught up in it. And there's just nothing you can do. And that's just the aspect of racing. You need 1, a lot of skill, and 2nd, a lot of luck if you want to find yourself at the end of these races. With as many drivers that were involved in that wreck, expecting a lot of them to get damage repaired. And I believe McCarvey was not involved in that thing, so another lap given to the 27. So now he'll be a total of 12 laps down, but with all the drivers that were involved in this current wreck, that means there's going to be lap traffic in front of the 27, and all those laps that he was getting, they're now gone.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's got a lot of guys now that have had issues that he can potentially capitalize on. Maybe guys, because it looked like a lot of guys had some pretty severe front end damage, might be losing their engines here, having to sit on pit road. But now with these cars laps down, he's not going to be getting the free passes if we keep getting these quick cautions. So going to have to just keep plucking away at it and hope that he can stay out of trouble that happens ahead of him here. And maybe some other guys have a lot more misfortune and happen to fall more laps down than himself.
There were a lot of drivers that decided to stay out and not pit. About, believe 20 drivers all staying out. Leading that group was James Loveland. So now we'll see if Loveland can cut his way through traffic, which probably the most dangerous thing at short track racing is when you're up front and there's a bunch of different strategies going on behind you. And when you come into pit road, you're stuck behind all those other drivers that pitted.
Well, the good news is that if you're on the flip side of this, where you're staying out on these older tires trying to make something happen, you've got a pretty big buffer between yourself and the guys that have taken the fresh tires now that are going to be trying to charge through the field. But if you're one of the guys that are trying to charge through the field, we've seen it before. That's pretty much the most dangerous position you can be in. We've seen it time and time again where somebody in the lead tries to come down and take fresher tires, try to change up some strategy here and get a little bit ahead of the rest of the field. and something happens in front of them. It reaches out and grabs them, and they end up completely junked on the hook, going behind the wall.
Yeah, also the difference of tires and the difference of pacing that you can carry. Those fresh tires allow you to carry so much more speed through the corner, which just allows you to run so much faster than everyone else. And we'll see what the drivers now from 20th on back, how they're going to be attacking those that have already pitted. We still have two drivers. That's going to be Adam Baker and Timmy Emmanuel that have not pitted for themselves. And they're the only two that have not done that. This is a shocker to see. And they are now sitting ducks, going to be leading the front row.
Can tell you from experience, we talked about how this is a lot like Richmond. I tried this same thing at Richmond, staying out, and ended up rolling off second. By the end of 2 laps, I went from second place to about 28th. So hopefully they don't have that same result and don't get run over here. But Adam Baker, he's been at the front the whole entire race. Timmy Emmanuel up 33 positions now, a whole lot of track position for himself. Now see if they can just hold on to it here and get some good points for the end of this stage coming up not too far away.
Drivers in the field, they're coming over the radio just saying, please don't wheel spin, as that's another factor with this drivers that still have not pitted. They're on those much older tires. Wheel spinning just becomes a higher and higher risk, and it's kind of like missing a shift. It really puts you in a tough spot and can completely clog up the lane that you're leading.
Absolutely. Worst case scenario, you have to lift a little bit, but not worst case. Worst case is you wreck. Best case scenario, you have to lift a little bit, but they're off and away now as we go back green.
Baker gets a great start on the outside. It's going to be Emmanuel going to be stuck on the inside, slowing down just slightly, but it didn't look like they wheel spun at all, and that's the best thing for Baker. Get a massive lead so he doesn't have to worry about that of the Pelicans behind him, of that of Alex and Anthony.
Anthony in the 98, up 9 positions. Not as big as the guys he's racing with right now, but still a good chunk here fighting for that 3rd position now. But directly behind him, for Brandon Pearl, looking to crack up into the top 4. But Anthony's got that high side working pretty well out of turn 2.
Yeah, doing a great job currently. I'm completely surprised to see Timmy still running in the top 5 after 2 laps. Great job for himself. Also for Baker, still leading. And we'll see this lap time, if Pelican, how much faster he's running. And they're very similar times. Looks like Pelican only about 100 faster than what Baker is running. So, yes, those tires about 26 laps difference on them, but still running pretty close, and surprised to see how well they are.
And the good thing is right now, with the cool-off period you get under caution, these tires are going to have a lot of speed on them once you get back going again. But give it 2 or 3 laps, and that fall-off is really going to start to show. As from last time by, they're a 10th or more slower at the front of the field than they were the last time. And looking back, trying to find Loveland here in the mix of all this.
There's a hornet's nest around 15th place. There's about 5, 6, 7 cars, all about to be 3 wide right now. It is wild, and this is around the cars that are on older tires and fresh tires, just trying to figure out where to place themselves so they can march forward or those fall back.
Yeah, there's a lot of strategy and different pit cycles going on right now. And talking about Loveland, he has now worked himself up to the 20th position. Still a little bit off pace from what the leaders were running, just being back in traffic, but he is slowly but surely making his way up through the field.
Yeah, Loveland's able to make a charge, but he's fallen a couple of positions back from some of those drivers that pitted with him on the same strategy. The driver with the freshest of tires is making the best charge. That's going to be the battle that's currently going on for 13th place. They're 3 wide, and that's going to be Safe Ferries, who's going to be making that move up to 11th. And I got to say, this 44 making clean work of all those drivers on older tires.
Well, the surprising thing right now, Sam, is that the 44, he's got a lot of pace, but last time by, let's see what it is. Actually, only a little bit quicker than Alex Pelican in second currently. So traffic is really doing the guys at the head of the pack here a lot of favors, just kind of holding these guys up a little bit. But if we get another quick caution, kind of resets everything, and you can take advantage of the jumble on the restarts to gain a couple more spots.
Yeah, and credit to Timmy Emmanuel as well for Baker. They have still been able to both stay in the top 5, when I think we both were thinking they're going to possibly be dropping all the way back to 20th place in about 5 laps. They're still running strong and keeping pace with those drivers that they're around, and is because everyone is just being so aggressive here, knowing that the end of the stage is coming close, which means not a lot of drivers are thinking about saving their tires for this longer run that's going on right now.
At this point, if you pit, especially the guys that just came in and have the freshest tires, you have got no reason to save them right now. You go out and get everything you can and just burn them up, because you've got that caution coming up here for the end of the stage, where everybody essentially is going to be coming down to add a new set on and fill up the tank. So go ahead and get after it.
Stage 1 comes to a close at the start of lap 76. Once the leader crosses the line, that is when the stage will come out and the old flag will wave. And right now, Loveland in the middle of the field is going through chaos, as he's got drivers going 2-3 wide around him, and he's been boxed in on the high side. Finally, he's been able to get low. But I think that's been the real key right now of seeing the 44. If Ferry's making his moves, he's been able to stay low and passing everyone low instead of being boxed in on the high side, where I was hearing during practice, it feels loose and not a lot of drivers feeling secure on that second or third lane.
Well, the biggest thing is, you know, that anybody that's had any time on the sim, you know, you get used to what we call snap loose, where the car just feels really tight. You try to get the power down, and all of a sudden it goes from being really, really tight to extremely loose, and the back end's wanting to kick out on you. It looks like the 57 gets turned around into turn 1.
Yeah, Ferry's going to be getting a little bit into the 57, getting him around, but we stay green. Car spun off course, but that certainly was a big scare for a lot of drivers that were all surrounding them.
Yeah, somebody's fire suits are going to need to be changed here. And I got to point out the paint scheme on that 57. I'm actually digging that.
The power pugs.
Yeah, some good childhood cartoons there, some memories for me.
Oh, yeah. A little bit of sweet, a little bit of nice. You never know what else will be added in, but 57 was hoping for better luck, that's for sure, as he's going to be dropping all the way back to 20th after running around 8th and 7th before he got spun around. A lot of drivers.
Sorry, Sam. Looking at Ferris here, he's only in 8th position, but the gap between himself and Adam Baker in the front here, Baker's only running a 10th slower right now, but that gap is huge. It's going to take quite a long time for the 44 to actually be able to reel him in, and he's still got traffic to deal with.
Yeah, if it's a 10th a lap, it is not going to be enough time right now for Ferries. He's got to be able to get past all of this traffic and then have a little bit of clean air to try to make a charge forward. Currently, it's not looking good for the 44. Once he gets clear of the 2 drivers in front of him, he's going to have about a second, a little bit under a second and a half to the next driver in front of him. Looking at some of the drivers that have been making some great moves forward, Loveland finally has gotten able to get through some traffic. I do want to give a shout out to Wilson, who's done a great job, moved up to 18th place. And, some of the other drivers that were caught up in some wrecks, Cody Atkins, been able to move up to 21st. So, some drivers, yes, they were caught up in traffic, but have been able to make some great moves. But the battling that's going on currently for 5th place, it is looking dangerous as Ferries thinking about making some moves all around. And the driver that is stuck on the high side and going backwards, that's Emmanuel. Those older tires, they finally have given up on themselves.
Yeah, it did not take very long, about 10 laps there, for the attempts to really rise and show the wear. Whereas looking at the 44, still able to roll the bottom pretty well, but the 88 now of Eric Hutton looking to make a run to the outside of Ferris to contend for that 6th position here and charge up toward the front. But they've got the slower car of Dallas Sullivan directly on the high side now of the 44, just kind of blocking the way a little bit.
Yeah, and right now, looking like Fairs is going to be doing the best that he can to make the pass, will do so. But for the drivers that they're around, the 46 of Sullivan into the outside wall, bouncing off, everyone stays straight. That was a scary moment. But Fairs has been making all these moves forward and basically been the spear for everyone, which has allowed all the other drivers with fresh tires, similar to the 44, they've been able to just follow the tracks of the 44 and not really have to brutalize their tires. And that is now backfired as Hutton, he's made that pass, now up to 5th.
Well, Hutton's making that pass, but directly behind them, James Loveland has caught up. He has now moved himself up to 8th position battling with these guys, tracked him down through all that traffic. Or like you said, got pinched on the high side there, could not quite get around him, but all this battling has allowed him to make up that ground pretty easily.
Now the question is do they have enough time? It does not look like it, and you got to give props that to Baker. But now the question for Baker is, does he have enough fuel? He still is not pitted, and the fuel run we were given, Baker had to save up to 20 laps of fuel if he wanted a chance to not have to pit until that pit stop at stage 1. It is going to be incredible if the 48 can somehow do that.
Well, I'm going to be listening to him here just to see what he's doing. If he's maybe trying to save a little bit of fuel now, he's going around traffic. Does not sound like he is clutching it. So he is not trying to save that aggressively. Maybe he feels comfortable that he has got enough.
I mean, he certainly is doing everything that he can to try to stay out there, and props to him for still chugging along and up to a 1.3 second gap, able to put down that of McCarvey down another lap. But looking at some of the drivers still trying to get repairs done. Looks like Thomas Blender, who was been in the pits for over 13 minutes, he's finally got his repairs done and back on course.
Oh, another guy that's just trying to get as much as he can. Just the name of the game for a lot of these guys at this point is just salvage. Just try to gain, keep yourself from losing that one extra spot and maintain that one extra point that you might need in the bank later on. You cannot give up anything with this short of a season.
Drivers are racing to the end of lap 75, start of lap 76. That is when stage 1 will come to a close at the halfway marker of this race. And all these drivers are trying to get into the top 10. And currently, driver that is at that buffer spot, that's going to be Brandon Pearl, who's got a hungry amount of drivers behind him that are trying to get that position from Pearl. Justin Carey looks like one of those drivers to watch out for on those fresher tires compared to the 4, but still a wall of cars to get by.
And just behind him is the 20. Joey Means talked about his gap in qualifying there, had to start in the back. He's almost cracked himself into the top 10 here, right about the right time, exactly when you'd want to. Just under 10 laps now to the end of the stage. He's got some time now. We'll see what he can put together.
Yeah, I mean, credit to Carey, who's currently in 11th place, did not put a qualifying lap down, started all the way back in 38th position, had to try a little bit of strategy out and has been able to do so. But Baker is having issues. He is going into pit lane. It looks like he ran out of fuel.
Not what you want to have happen here, because I imagine at this point he's probably going to go a lap down now. And also, if he has an issue where he overshoots or undershoots his box and does not have the fuel to move in reverse or just scoot ahead a little bit, he's going to have to take a tow, and that's going to be multiple laps.
Looks like he is staying at pace speed for pit road, so still has enough fuel to get through there. But it was a close one. Finally gets into his pit stall cleanly. Did not overshoot it, but it was a very slow entry, and currently already a lap down before service has even started. Took a splash of fuel, got back out there. Baker is hoping that he is the first car one lap down. Driver's got to watch out for is the 70, currently about 2.5 seconds back from where the 48 is.
Well, the good news is if he took enough just to get to the end of this stage here, getting the lucky dog is not going to be the worst thing. And it tells me now, looking at him, he wasn't trying to save fuel because he knew he could not make it. There was absolutely no point. Maybe just banking on that caution to come out. But we finally got that long green flag run. And guys really starting to show the long run speed now. And the tires, guys that have not pit, starting to fall off just a little bit.
Well, with Baker no longer being able to stay up front, it gives Anthony Pelican the lead and Alex Pelican in second place. But Alex is under heavy pressure as the drivers with fresh tires, they've caught up, and it's about to go 3 wide for third place.
And Nick Starling able to get that thing repaired, just kind of getting out of the way of these guys. But, man, that third place battle now, this fresh tires caught up, but just not quite enough time here.
Leading that group of fresh tires is going to be the 88 of Eric Hutton, who's going to be right now trying to get by that of Alex Pelican. But soon to come, Anthony Pelican hoping not to see the 88 close up that gap anymore. as the white flag for stage 1 is in the air. Next time that 98 comes around the laps, we will have our stage break, and we'll be good here as drivers are getting set. Anthony Pelican, what a great run for himself. Just had to wait for Baker to run out of fuel. And also, looks like another driver having to come in. Timmy Emmanuel still is out there on track, but he is now going into straight conservation mode, and he is losing time quickly.
Yeah, falling all the way back to 24th position right now, and that is the end of the stage. Anthony Pelican able to hold on over those fresh tires.
Ooh, Adam Baker, what a gutsy move. Him staying out, but he almost wasn't the lucky dog. Kyle Payne was about 1/10 away from being a lap down and had the leader right on his bumper when they came across the line. That is a nerve-wracking situation to be put in.
Yeah, getting knocked out of the lucky dog position split second before the caution comes out. I'm not sure I'd want to hear about that one. I'd have been like, man, okay, well, just wasn't my night.
Well, drivers now coming into pit road and getting service done. Stage 1 comes to a close, and we will be right back after a quick commercial break from Freemasonry, and we'll be right back after this.
When we're laying on our deathbed, you're not going to worry about how much money you had, how much power you had, how much prestige. You're going to see that that was all game, that was all an illusion. The only thing that's going to matter is the impact you had on other people's lives.
We are all on a separate journey. But the beautiful thing about my life here on this earth is at my funeral. They won't talk about my success. They'll talk about who I was and how I lived and how I loved and encouraged. For the last 3 centuries, our craft has helped us and our brothers before us develop from who we were to who we are now. As Masons, we honor and value meaningful relationships with our families, with our brothers, and with our communities. We are needed to bring relief to those most vulnerable in our society. We are needed to bring hope to those with fewer opportunities than ourselves. We are needed to bring light to a new generation. We are Masons, and we are always here when people need us, because we believe it is our responsibility to help make this world a better place. We live these values by helping those in need. And now, in this modern world, we're needed more than ever.
When you were born, you cried while the world rejoiced. Live your life in such a way that when you die, the world cries while you rejoice.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's below the double yellow line Xfinity Series for round number 1 here for the U.S. Freemasonry 150 at Iowa Speedway. It's been a crazy one so far. We've had a lot of cautions coming up, but excited to see how the rest of this race is going to be going out. We're racing to the end now, and Brandon, excited to see how this race is going to go, and it looks like we're going to be seeing that of Pelican taking the outside.
Yeah, it's going to be a really, telling couple laps here to see if Pelican's got the speed to hang with these guys that have essentially been the front runners for a majority of this race before they decided to pit and take fresh tires. But James Loveland, not far behind, led pretty much all the race up to that point. So we'll see if he can make his way back to the front.
So now this race is going to go. As pace car pulls off, we race to the end as Anthony Pelican takes the charge, and following suit, it's going to be Alex Pelican. That communication factor that we haven't really talked about, helpful on that restart for both Pelicans. Get a great launch, and now it's all on to Alex. Can he get clear? Will do so. So the Pelicans, 1-2.
It looked like Alex Pelican may have gotten to the wall out of turn 2 there. If not, he definitely had to check up, open the door for Hutton on the 88 to try to get to the inside. But close quarters racing there. A little bit of wiggling out of the 88.
Hutton getting a little bit greedy, and that's going to be costing him now not just a battle chance for second place. He drops back to fourth. Luckily able to get back in line, but still has drivers to his outside trying to make their moves.
Oh, looks like Ferry's getting to the wall out of turn 2 there. It's Hutton closed the door, got a good run out of turn 2 to get the nose clear to the 44 there, but no worse for wear for the 44 now. Is back into the wall again. As I say that.
Gosh, that is rough. You want to stay out of the outside wall, and this is giving a chance for possibly Loveland to get back into the group, but it just seems like Loveland, he's going with a more patient approach. Wait for the race to come to him, even though he was leading the first about 35 laps of this race before he had to come into pit road.
Yeah, if you try to grab too much now, you'll be giving up a whole lot later on with guys that have been a little bit more conservative and got a little bit more speed in their car towards the later stages of the run here. So I like the approach from James Loveland. Just kind of letting it all fall into place here. Let these guys battle it out. Let them go side by side. Really try to put the power down, get squirrely off the corners, put the heat in those tires, and you'll be able to pass them a lot easier later on.
Well, we know that you can run it to the end if you're extremely conserving your fuel. That's what Timmy Emmanuel showed us. But for a lot of these drivers, if we stay green to the end, which looks to be possible, especially with that little 40-lap run we got to have, that means green flag pit stops is an option. And then the strategies of when do you pit? Do you under pit, over pit? When are you thinking about making those moves?
Well, honestly, the undercut is going to be marginal, depending on, exactly what the difference is on tires, because we saw the fresher tires were faster, but the distance really kind of negated exactly how fast they were. They were able to get within about a second, finally, of Pelican before the end of that stage there, but did not have just, completely overmatching speed with those fresh tires. So if you can manage to pit maybe 5 laps before and get just a couple tenths quicker for those fresher tires, make up a little bit of ground, but you should be able to hold off somebody pretty well on older tires from what we've seen so far.
So far, looking at some of the drivers that have made some great moves from where they started the race to where they are now. Our leader right now, Anthony Pelican, started back in 13th, now up to first place, so able to make a great move up for himself. As well for Eric Hutton, who's done a great job, started back in 14th, up to third place. So a great moves for all those drivers, but Dallas Sullivan back in 9th place. He started back in 27th, been able to move up a couple of positions. A great night for the 46. He's gotten into the wall a couple of times and hoping to stay off the wall for the rest of this race.
Yeah, handling is not looking very good on the 46 of Dallas Sullivan right now. A little bit loose coming out of turn 4 last time, but he's also got a lot of nose damage from being involved in a previous incident here. And considering that nose damage, running 9th place right now, pretty good, but he is under heavy fire from the 19 and the 1.
Yeah, also other drivers that are trying to make the better recovery. That is going to be the driver of the 81 of Cody Atkins. He's trying to make a rebound for himself as the drivers in front of him really getting racy for that 9th place position.
Yeah, talking about Cody Atkins, the incident that he was involved in, able to keep that car out of any contact with the wall and rebounded nicely just outside the top 10 here in 14th place, and quite a lot of time left to gain a lot more ground. I potentially see Cody being able to crack his way into the top 5 by the end of this thing.
Top 5, top 10, I think that's where a lot of these drivers are aiming for those that were caught up in incidences where they got heavy damage that's hurting their drive. Thinking about a top 15. But right now, the battle for 9th place, 9th, 10th, and 11th place, they are all over one another with Teal, Smith, Means, as well as Sullivan, all on top of one another, side by side. This is great battling for the middle of the pack. And this is just a cluster of machines that really got to be careful not to take each other out, even though they're side by side.
Yeah, and just inside now, looking to kind of get ahead of this battle, Joey Means back up in 11th place now. On the inside of the one car here, trying to make that pass. And these guys at the front of the field have kind of checked out. Pretty much been single file, not really battling too hard, but these guys desperately want to crack into the top 10 back here.
Driver that made that bold move, that tried to stay out as long as he could, that was Adam Baker. Baker currently in 21st position and trying to make his charge back to the front, but it is going to be a long race, and I think he's hoping for a couple of caution flags to give him some better opportunities for passing opportunities.
Yeah, that's really what you're going to be looking for, especially how much the pack has kind of gotten spread out here. Front 8 or so, just really single file and kind of checking out and setting their own pace right now. There's some battles ahead of Adam Baker. He's going to be able to capitalize on that and gain a little bit of time, but you definitely want that caution to kind of group everybody back up, take advantage of the restart and gain a few more positions here. But if you can't get that lucky caution that you need, at this point, you're starting to think about, okay, when do I want to pit? How much ground can I make up by pitting? How much ground will I lose if I stay out just a little bit longer? And being that Adam Baker's running by himself currently, just a couple car lengths behind his nearest competition, he's got a lot of opportunity to think about those different scenarios.
Yeah, for a lot of the drivers and where they're at. Up front, Eric Hutton able to make the pass on Alex Pelican, and Alex was given this best shot to try to hold off the 88, but I think that damage on the right side is a little bit too much to overcome for the 12 car, and you have to give up that second place position. But that was something I was going to bring up, is with having, there are teammates out here that are trying to work with one another. If you've got a couple of teammates in line at short track racing, I mean, that has got to be a massive advantage to try to hold off and make other drivers use up all their stuff before they have a shot to get up to the driver up front.
It really does, Sam. You're not going to be able to hold him off for long. Just make it as hard as possible. Make him have to be as aggressive as possible to get by you. He's going to have to throw a Hail Mary into the corner and hope that his car sticks to get by you. And then once he does, he's going to have an even harder time because your teammate ahead of you is going to do the exact same thing.
The drivers certainly making some aggressive moves on, defensive moves, aggressive on how they can make some. It's interesting to see. I mean, you've got the battling up front, right? You got your top 8 all in line and trying to figure out where they want to place themselves. And then lap traffic, that's going to be shaking things up. And then you drop back to around that 16th place where it looks like, 12th to about 16th. You got drivers all nose to tail. There's not really a gap between them. They're just right on top of one another. And at any moment, just someone making a slight hiccup on where their braking zone is, braking a little bit sooner, could really cost the drivers where they're at.
Yeah, they're out here riding around in these separate little packs like this, and you're hoping that if there's a caution, it's just not the pack that you're a part of. Like you said, you'll end up with a lot of cars getting involved with a slight incident and a little bit of contact there. But, man, it's just been crazy how this race has played out. And talking about, my opinion about where the quick line was going to be in 3 and 4, looking at it, really only the lap cars are going there. And I'm actually quite happy about that, because for a long time, it was almost impossible to pass in 3 and 4 just because the quick lane was around the wall, and if you were not there, you just couldn't make anything happen. But now that the line's moved down to the bottom and to that second group, a lot more passing opportunities in 3 and 4 that a lot of guys are taking advantage of.
Battle for the lead is Eric Hutton on the inside, able to get underneath the 98 of Anthony Pelican, and both these drivers need to figure out where they are going to make the pass, because lap traffic in front of them, it's about to get chaotic as they've got 4 lap cars as they're still side by side. Lap machines need to figure out where to place themselves as it is chaotic, and it's going to be helping that of Hutton able to use the lap traffic as a pick and putting Pelican behind the 88.
Well, now if you are Anthony, you're just going to be conserving your stuff, trying to cool off your tires as much as possible. Let him find his way through the lap traffic and just follow suit here. Make him make the risky moves trying to get around these slower cars. And if he finds himself in trouble, give yourself enough space to capitalize on it and not get collected.
This is Dennis Steele and as well Ulfridge, all a part of that third caution of the day. The massive calamity of about 8 drivers that were all involved, and you can see looking like modifieds out there with some of the damage that they've got. Also, credit to Jeremiah Vincent, able to still stay up with our leaders, and he's one of those drivers that's kind of been waiting impatient, letting his tires kind of come in, and looked like he was saving a little bit more than what Hutton was, and it allowed Hutton to really pull away and catch up to the Pelicans, make passes on them, and now we're starting to see the 17 making his charge.
Yeah, it's been really, really quiet, but he's kept the tires underneath him. It looks like he's able to roll the center quite a bit there. Had to check up a little bit for Anthony Pelican through 3 and 4, but just really silently stalking and being patient, like you said, Sam, and it's paid off pretty well. As I imagine, once he gets around the 98, it will not be too long before we see that 17 car contending for the lead.
In the chat, one of the drivers shouting out that of Bradley Wilson, trying to understand where he's at. He's in 9th place, and he is surrounded by that of the 19 and as well as the 20. And got to be careful not to be put up into the wall. Looks like he'll be using that 27 and being picked on, as just like that lap traffic. It is so difficult when the speed difference is that so off from one another, because you have to figure out, when do I make this move? Can't hesitate, because you might run into the driver in front of you.
I gotta feel bad for Kyle McGarvey here. He's been used as a pick now twice, and he's just like, come on guys, please don't be mad at me. I'm just running up here trying to stay out of your way. It's not my fault. Even as frustrating as it is for these lead lap cars, trying to battle for position. But talking about Bradley Wilson, gotta say he's rebounded quite nicely from the incident that he had getting spun, trying to make his way onto pit road during an earlier caution. Now up here into the top 10, battling with Joey Means and Dylan Teal, who was also made his way back up to the front after pitting about lap 20 or so for fresher tires.
Been doing a great job, as we're now coming up to almost less than 40 laps to go. Feels like this race has just been clicking away since we got to the second half. Have not seen a caution since stage 1, and stage 1 was a lot of carnage. Felt like every 10 to 15 laps there was a caution that would come out. And finally, after lap 35, got a good green flag run to kind of give us an idea of how these drivers were going to attack this track. And if we stay green, we're expecting pit stops here, probably in the next 20 to 15 laps here.
Well, that's something we have not seen yet, guys. Having to go from race speed to try to make this transition to pit road. Now we've got a caution.
And with that caution, where we are not going to be seeing that green flag pit stop, as it looks like it's going to be around where the 4 and the 39 are, coming out of 2. Drivers getting collected with one another. These drivers, you're going to be seeing it here on your Freaky Fast replay. Coming into turn number 1, just a little bit of contact there. Out of the 39 of Timmy getting into the 4. And Pearl just, 2 drivers looking for the same set of real estate. And also looked like, Pearl was expecting that of Timmy to drop down a little bit further, and just he did not go down at all compared to everyone else.
And that's something that's, you've got to kind of guess in that situation as a driver. You've got to guess where the guy is going to be just based on where you think he's running. There's a lot of drivers that run triple monitors or VR, and it's a lot easier to tell because you can kind of just glance and see, okay, this is where the guy is. But when you're going into the corner, you're saying, okay, this is where I'm expecting him to be. This is where I'm going to run. And it looked like there that maybe somebody just a little bit too hot into the corner, did not quite get the nose to point and lost the nose and a little bit of contact there. But sometimes you make that sweeping entry and he's just not where you expected him to be, and you get those kind of incidents like that. Didn't look like too bad of damage, but I'm sure from a driver's standpoint, you're not going to be too happy about the fact you got turned regardless.
Yeah, not happy at all, and trying to make sure my telemetry is right, but it looks like Kyle Payne. I think he's letting all those positions back. I believe Kyle Payne was gifted the lucky dog position. But for a second, he went way further than everyone else, and I was like, "Well, did I don't know if he was supposed to be in that spot."
Well, it's looking pretty good right now. 27 positions for Kyle Payne sitting in fourth. Uh, almost got the lead there.
Almost got to taste it for a second.
Yep, the sweet sniff of fresh air.
Kyle, hoping for a better, day. He's been struggling making his way forward, but like you said, been up 27 positions. Started back in 31st, and he did not. He only got one attempt at a qualifying lap after spinning for his first attempt on his first lap. So Kyle's looking for a good day so far, and I do want to give a big thanks to all those that are watching tonight's race. It has been a joy seeing all those that are coming in and watching this race here tonight. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. You get to watch all of the great racing action that happens throughout the week, and also go like and follow that of our Facebook page, where you also can see more content there. And as well, in our both chats, you can see our Teesprings. We've got merch, great merches, got hoodies, t-shirts, and also a mug where you can rock some Freaky Fast merchandise. Thank you so much for all those you're watching tonight for the Below the Double Yellow Line Xfinity Series for the US Freemasonry 150. Also getting word, we do the top three get interviewed every race, but we do those videos go up onto Facebook, and it's a great way to see the drivers interacting with both us, and a great way for you to, you've got your favorite drivers that you all know, but also get to meet some of the other drivers that are running up front and doing great every single week.
You'd be surprised how much you can tell about a driver's personality from their short interviews that they get to do with us for finishing in the podium positions. We've got a lot of characters in the different leagues that we've broadcast, so they're pretty funny to go back and watch and just see those different personalities come out.
Oh yeah, there's personalities, people that are just like, they want to talk, they'll talk the whole entire time, and they want to tell you about their day and about how the race is going and about what they're going to do tomorrow. And other drivers are talking about, okay, I just want to get done with this and go to bed. So it's always interesting seeing the different personalities, like you said. But pace car lights are off. Brandon, we got to see a short little 40-lap run to finish out stage one. With this caution coming out, it's going to be less than 40 laps. Do you think we'll see a very similar thing, or will it be kind of like the way the start of stage one, where it was caution after caution?
Well, I think some guys are going to be taking it a little bit more aggressive than they did this last run here. Just seeing, okay, I was a little bit passive here, didn't quite work out. The tires fell off in a way I wasn't expecting. Didn't have the speed that I thought I'd have, so I've got to get after it a little bit harder.
The U.S. Freemasonry 150, it is green once again. And also getting word that the 17 of Jeremiah Vincent, who was running up front, challenging for second place at one point, NG damage.
Adam Baker.
Oh boy, be careful out there, boys. Caution coming out.
Great heads up from the field there.
Our replays got to see a good picture of that one. Getting ready for a Freaky Fast replay. Man, this is more drivers being caught up in this one, and a restart, sometimes you got to be careful. Wasn't clear there, Baker.
Yeah, good job by not coming back up in front of the field there, and great job when he looped it. The rest of the field, a little bit of a bumper touches there, but nobody really piled in, so that was a great heads up by the rest of the field in the back there to avoid that.
Yeah, and Baker was able to get straight and move it along. And you also saw there on the first shot when he was spinning around, you saw those different marbles on the inside. Those marbles are not fun to get your fresh tires on. It's going to make you even more slicker, and your tires just a lot more of an issue than what they already were when you got fresh rubber. Well, short track racing, And now it's time to make those bold moves. Baker tried to make a aggressive move, just wasn't clear, costing himself and almost costing others. And the phrase cautions breeds cautions. I think that is what we're about to see here tonight.
I think that's absolutely true. The closer you get to the end, the more guys realize, hey, I've got to take advantage of these cautions here and get as many spots as I can, because another one's going to come out pretty quickly.
Yeah, expecting a lot more of drivers trying to make some bold moves. EOL is going to be given to Adam Baker for that caution. And, do want to give a big thanks to Mark up in the chat. He's been giving us a lot of updates. Also, for those in the chat reading what is going on, allows you to also get a little bit more of a immersive feeling of, what race control is calling, and also giving us a lot of great information to give out to y'all. Well, Brandon, this could be their final pit stop. If there was a time of this is probably the last time that you could make a pit stop and make a bold move, what lap do you think could someone, if they're trying to get fresher rubber than everyone else, when do you think that they possibly could come to the pits?
Well, I think no later than maybe lap 127. I think after that, the tires, they just kind of equal out so much that you're not really going to gain much by having fresher tires. If you pit any later than that, you're going to leave yourself with too little time, I think.
Well, drivers that are going to be trying with fresh rubber and going to be trying to make that move, Adam Baker, he's going to be starting all the way back in 30th. Well, first car, one lap down, but he's going to have that EOL, so he's even going to be behind that of lap traffic. So it's going to be a rough time for these drivers.
Robert's cackling about something.
You read chat.
Okay.
Mark's been messing with some of the drivers. The admins and drivers, they know each other really well. We'll get to know the drivers a lot better as the season rolls around, and it's going to be a great fun getting to commentate these guys. And it's always exciting when you got a new league on the broadcast channel, and new faces. And I do iRacing, and it's always fun. And Brandon, I'm pretty sure you do iRacing as well. You get to see some of the drivers you broadcast over and say, hey, hopefully you do better next week, or congratulations on a race whenever you see them in the officials.
Oh yeah, there's actually quite a few guys that we broadcast in different leagues that I run into in official races pretty regularly. So it's always pretty cool. It makes you feel like a bit of a celebrity when people recognize you from the broadcast. So thank you for that.
Oh, it's always a fun time. You get to you're like, oh, I'm just in my little box commentating over you guys, and then you get officials. They're like, this is the guy that talks over our races. It's like, oh, what race is it?
It's always nice until either you wreck them or they wreck you, and then you gotta remember you gotta be nice because you broadcast them.
Very true, very true. Well, as long as you wreck them, it's okay because you hope that they don't finish the top 3 and then bad talk you, but.
Oh, yeah.
No, if you wreck them, or you got the limbo there you got to worry about.
I tell you for sure, the guys that I recognize in leagues that I run into, I race them a little bit nicer than I do anybody else, just for that reason.
No, for sure. But here tonight, it's going to be less than 30 laps to go. As drivers getting set here for the U.S. Freemasonry 150. It's going to be Anthony Pelican on the outside. James Loveland has finally found himself in the second, up in the front row. We'll see. Does the 56 have enough to get himself up front? As everyone's on very similar rubber, the drivers will watch out for it. All the way in the back, that's got to be Baker, but he's all the way back in 30th, and he's got a lot of work to deal with if he wants to get back up front.
Well, this battle for the front 5 here. Alex Pelican now under fire from Bryant Seaborn. Just a little bit loose there out of Pelican, but Seaborn's going to get his nose to the outside to take over that 5th position for now. I'm really interested to see if James Loveland is going to be able to get back to the front after qualifying on the pole. He's put himself back in traffic early on and has not seemed to be able to find his way back to the front ever since.
Eric Hutton looks extremely quick in these first 20 laps. With caution, it's going to be drivers spinning in the top 10 and more drivers trying to scoot through. It's a funnel. They're all trying to slow down.
I think Mark Beverly was involved in that. Not sure exactly what happened.
That's going to be Beverly, and it looks like the 19 making contact. Oh, man. That was Teal that made the contact. Yikes.
Yeah, a little bit into the left rear, sent the 15 around. And we talked at the top of the broadcast about learning, guys, different break-in points, and that right there is the difference between about 10 foot of one driver brakes and the other driver brakes. Just that slight little bit of contact.
The 81 of Atkins had nowhere to go, and you see there in that shot, just the funnel. There is not a lot of space and a lot of cars coming in. And a lot of them, luckily, were able to scoot by, but that was a very scary situation for a lot of drivers once that yellow flew.
Looking at it, the guys that were involved, I think except for Beverly and Adkins, not too bad of damage there. Just a little bit of contact on the wall. Some a little bit harder than others, but shouldn't be anything too severe. But for sure, they're going to be coming down to try to get as much as that fixed as possible.
Oh, yeah. You're going to come down and try to get as much repaired, especially if you're already in the back and got caught up in that. Come in, take the couple of seconds for repairs that you got, and hope that there's enough time to get yourself back out there. And it looks like drivers that will be getting the lucky dog, I believe that's going to be going to that of Jacob Houston, who's going to get that in the 8 car, who's had it up and down day, been caught up in about 2 cautions. So Houston, ready to get back onto the lead lap.
Well, Sam, you asked me when I figured, that's when you'd want to come into the latest you'd want to come in for the end of the race to get tires. I think by the time we go green here, it's right about when I was expecting when I'd said I'd want to go. So if you're coming in now to get damage fixed, I'm absolutely slapping 4 tires on this thing. And maybe some of the guys even farther back that don't have to get damage fixed, come in and take tires. If guys decide later, that's maybe a couple positions you're going to be able to gain and probably be able to hold them off as well.
Looks like the 19 of Dylan Teal going to be given the EOL. But yeah, for those drivers that are coming in, looks like around 22nd on back came in to get some fresh rubber. Surprised to see that Scheppeler's going to be taking just fuel, it looks like. Might have gone with 2 tires for the 13 on this last time coming in the pits, but he's come in over a total of 16 times trying to get as many repairs done. And for a lot of these drivers in the back half of the field, it has been a long day just trying to get repair after repairs done to make sure that they're still running at least in the top 30, if not in the top 25.
Well, as Denny Hamlin would say, that's just short track racing. A lot of damage potential at short tracks, and got to spend a lot of time on pit road getting it fixed, especially if you're playing the game where you're just trying to beat the pace car around, come in, get about 20 seconds fixed, go back out, catch the field, go back in. Kind of never-ending cycle there. And the cautions really are helping them, but these long green flag runs definitely hurting their speed and not giving them that chance to make repeated trips down pit road under caution.
I'm trying to figure out who this would be helping more up front. I mean, a driver we haven't really talked about that's up in our top 5. That's going to be Seaborn. Seaborn in the 76. He has been able to make a charge up to the front into the top 5 and started all the way back in 6th. But hasn't been up. He's just been consistently up in the top 10, but not in the top 5 that often this race. And now set up with a chance, with possibly being a contender to try to win this race. But it's going to be a lot of work. Those top 3 have been up front, and honestly, our favorites for most of this race.
Well, Sam, I think who this helps more than anything right now is Bradley Wilson. We saw him battling really hard with the 44 early on after his incident getting onto pit road. This has allowed him to be up in 6th position and close the gap with the leaders now. Going to be able to take advantage of the restart, maybe gain a couple more, and see if he can put himself back in that position to battle for the lead.
22 laps once we go green, and then we get to see who's going to be winning the first race of the season here in the below the double yellow Xfinity series. For the U.S. Freemasonry 150, it's excitement. First race here at Iowa Speedway. It's been a long one. There's been a lot of cautions, but it's been worth every moment as these drivers have been putting on a show. Pace car is off, green flag in the air. Anthony Pelican pulls off, and Eric Hutton's going to be following suit But just on the outside, Seaborn trying to make sure Loveland does not have the space, and Loveland looks like he might be dropping to fourth if Seaborn can get a good launch off the corner.
Seaborn with that great launch, like you said, and then Wilson able to follow along, get to the outside of Loveland, but Loveland now battling back to the inside. I feel like on these restarts, there's just not quite enough grip in those tires to hold the bottom, get a lot of power down. It seems like everyone that's trying to make that inside lane work has really lost the rear end, trying to carry as much speed as possible. But now Eric Hutton looking to make the move on our leader, Anthony Pelican.
Oh man, Loveland got especially tight there in fourth place, pushing up and pushing back that of Wilson. But yeah, that battle for first place, it's going to be Hutton still side by side. The advantage has to be full. Seaborn got a shape, but still holds on. But you know, Pelican coming out of 4 has to be an advantage because he can really slow down and stop the momentum of the 88 by pinching him lower and lower and not letting him get back on the throttle as soon.
Yeah, with short tracks, you have to be so smooth and consistent and absolutely nail the corner each and every lap on the inside, whereas the outside, you can be a little bit sloppier and just be a presence. Just keep the guy pinched down, make him really have to put a lot of wheel into it, get hard back on the gas and step out like that. The risk you take, though, is if he gets out of shape and gets into you, you could wreck the both of you.
As we are now less than 20 laps to go, Hutton once again going to go to the inside into 4. And really our front about 8 staying single filed. You go back to around 12th place. They are stacked 2 by 2 by 2, almost about 4 or 5 rows deep. And it is a lot of battling to figure out who's going to be in the top 15. While up front, it's wait, be patient, and Seaborn looks like he might be trying to save his tires for that final push.
Well, looking back here to the 44 of Ferris, I was actually pretty surprised to see that he came down to take tires during that last caution. Just kind of blocked in right now. Can't really make up a lot of ground, and he's running out of time. Got to make quick work of these guys, but try to do it cleanly. We know he has the speed to contend. He's just got to get that track position first.
Almost out of caution. The 13 of Schepler's went around coming out of 4. Kept it straight, but lost over 8 positions, pushing him back to 26th place.
Well, laps winding down here, guys. Are absolutely it's all take at this point. You're not going to be given any kind of leeway to a guy just chopping noses off into the corner here, really sliding up on corner exits for a guy that has a run on you. A lot of caution potential now at this stage of the race.
Yeah, Fairs is making the aggressive moves back in 13th place, but he's also got Anna Baker following suit, which is exactly what we were seeing early on in that 40-lap run we had coming to the end of stage 1. So it allowed those drivers behind the 44 to save those tires and really make a better move forward. Baker doesn't have the freshest of tires out there, but fresher than all the drivers in front of him, except for the 44.
Well, it'd be a really good rebound for Adam Baker. I know he's probably kicking himself for running out of fuel the way he did. Strategy not quite paying out for him, but still up here in 14th. Good enough laps left that he can potentially make his way up to that top 10 position. If I were in his shoes, that would be a pretty good salvage finish out of that machine and team today at Iowa.
Going to do a quick rundown as we're coming closer and closer to 10 laps to go. We're going to do our top 10 battling so far side by side. It's going to be Anthony Pelican might be losing first place as Hutton got a great launch through 1 and 2 side by side as Pelican gets the launch out of the corner. They still stay side by side, but caution coming out in the middle of the field. It's going to be that of the 22 as well as the 28 of Dennis Steele. Oh boy. Steele had nowhere to go, and they're going to be seeing the carnage here on the replay. Just coming into turn number 1, drivers extremely excited. Here's your freaky fast replay. 22 is up in the outside wall coming into turn number 1. But Steele, he's going to be running into this wreck. It's going to be in front of him and just nowhere to go. And you know, this is the one thing about oval racing is when you pick a line, you're stuck there. There's the 5 spinning around, hard contact. Steele and the 22, and that is almost race-ending scenarios for all those drivers.
I am racking my brain here for this caution, trying to figure out who's going to pit. Are these leaders going to pit? It does not look like it. Looked like from 7th back, about 8 cars, and then even more in the back of the field going to decide to pit here. That moves the 44 as well as the 48 of Adam Baker up to 7th and 8th position for this restart, really closing the gap with the fresher tires. They're not going to have that much time. They're going to have to really get after it here, be as aggressive as possible, and just hope that they've got the grip in their tires to make it stick.
It went from the top 6 that stayed out to about 13 drivers in total have stayed out to not take fresh tires, putting Alex Pelican, looks like he'll be leading the charge of drivers coming out. As I say that, Brett Summers almost took that position away, and Will, the 7, going to be the first car, but he went with 2 tires and just fuel for the 7 compared to the 4 tires behind him. So that's going to be even more of a wall for the drivers that just took tires.
Well, that might help him. If these guys are feeling a tight condition out here, putting 2 tires on is definitely going to loosen it up. And also adding, topping off the fuel, you got to worry about that extra weight on the back of the car. It's really going to make the car a lot looser than the guys that are on a lower fuel load right now. The thing is, how loose is it going to be? If you haven't tested this before, you could be going into the corner thinking you're fine, and suddenly the car's got no rear grip, and you're just going for a spin cycle. So we're going to have to pay close attention to Brett Somers in the 7 here to see exactly how he's handling and if he's able to make his way through the field. But for the guys that stayed out, especially the buffer drivers, Robert Gilmore, Dylan Teal, Zach Smith, Dennis Faircloth, they're not really in that bad of a position. We've seen that older tires can hold off fresh tires pretty well. It doesn't really last long, but they definitely have to fight to get around them. So top 10 still definitely in the picture for these guys. They're not going to get swarmed entirely by the rest of the field behind them with fresher tires.
Yeah, Ferries has got to be the best one that's with fresh tires to cut through traffic. Everyone else, it's been kind of a struggle for them, and it takes time. And that is the one thing you don't have. We're going to be less than 10 laps. Less than 10 laps to go when we go green. We'll do a quick rundown of your top 10 and where they are running, as it's going to be Anthony Pelican, Eric Hutton, as well as Brian Seaborn, as well as got Loveland, Wilson, Means, Fairs, Baker, and also Ostrowski, who's going to be in 9th place. Faircloth going to be in 10th. And those top 10 drivers, they're going to be on older tires. The other 3 that also stayed out and are going to be in some pretty treacherous territories, it's going to be Zach Smith, as well as Dylan Teal and Robert Gilmore. And then behind them, you've got Robert Summers, who took 2 tires, going to be in a very precarious spot. But Alex Pelican and Alan Dice going to be leading the charge, but they're back in 15th and 16th with those fresher tires.
Well, I think right here, Alex Pelican going to be on the inside, starting on the inside row here. Going to have a lot of opportunity to kind of get a good launch on the restart and maybe make something happen. Shoot it 3 wide, take an aggressive move to the inside of turn 1 here and try to gain a couple more positions on the guys with older tires. We're going to have to see how well they can hold him off. If they're going to have handling issues and grip issues going into the corner, it may really open the door for quite a few positions for Alex Pelican besides just 1 or 2. If some guys wash up, he may be able to grab quite a handful here before we get out of turn 2 going down the backstretch.
Yeah, it is going to be a crazy part. It's going to be 7 laps to go when we go green, and if a caution comes out immediately, that could be putting us in a green-white checkered situation inside of our regulated 150 laps. If we go for about 3 laps, then a caution comes out, that's going to be putting us into overtime scenarios. Do want to give a big thanks to all of our sponsors, Outlaw Desert Racing, thank you so much, as well as for Tricky and Joe's Speed Team, and of course ButtKicker. Thank you so much to all of our sponsors as we are getting ready. This potentially could be the last restart for the U.S. Freemasonry 150. Green flag in the air. Anthony Pelican gets a great launch for himself, and he's got to watch out as the 88 was posing a threat, but will it hold on?
Well, it's really allowed Anthony to cool off his tires, but everybody else as well, and just try to get a little bit more life out of him here. Take care of him for the short run. Don't push crazy hard right off the restart here. But now Bradley Wilson making a move to the inside of Brian Seaborn. But we saw the inside, not the best place to be right now. Top 3 kind of breaking away a little bit as battle right now is for 4th position.
Yeah, that 4th position spot really heavily being pressured. Wilson, great run on the inside, but he's still going to be stuck side by side. Seaborn just lingering and waiting as we're coming up to 5 laps to go. Currently, Pelican feeling good, and he's been good here for the first about 2 to 3 laps. And then we start to see Hutton make his move as they almost went 3 wide for 4th place. But here comes Hutton on the inside.
I have to see if Hutton, he's been rolling the bottom pretty well, but
Caution.
This is
Middle of the
huge.
pack. Oh, it is massive. In the middle of 1 and 2, coming out of 2, there are just more and more cars being piled up. Saw the 57 as well as that of the 21 of Carey. Looks like Dice might have been involved. Know that Lane Sulfuridge was also involved in this thing. It was a calamity. And with the timing of this caution, it's green-white checkered time.
Well, now we have to deal with the green-white checkered, but also Eric Hutton had gotten the nose ahead of Anthony Pelican at the time of the caution. He's going to be the control car for this restart, which has, as we've seen, has been such a huge advantage every single restart so far this race. I think that well-timed aggression by Eric Hutton to really send it on the corner there is going to be what makes the difference between a first place and a second place finish for him today.
Yeah, it really matters on how well you can stay out, but it's been looking like if you get a great restart, you're good for at least 2 laps, which that's all you need, as that was your Freaky Fast replay and all that around Alan Dice, and as well that of Zach Smith. Just a lot of drivers clogged up, not a lot of space on the entry of turn 1, and I think Carey might have gotten the worst of that for the 21. Blown engine in pit road, trying to get the repairs done. Currently still chugging around, but that is not the type of wreck that you want to have.
Yeah, especially this late in the going. We talked about the 27 of Kyle McGarvey, who has managed to gain a few positions out of this from fixing his damage early on in this race. Still 14 laps down, but up another 3 positions. Good for him, but there's no such chance for the 21 to really be able to fix too much. Or excuse me, that was not the 21. Whoever that may have been, I'm missing the name at the moment. But engine damage at this point in the race, no chance to fix it, and you just got to hope that nobody that's laps down right now can jump you in position while you're sitting on pit road.
Yeah, looking at most of the field and seeing now, looks like Justin Carey's engine has officially blown in that 21 car. He got back on track. But this is going to be our first attempt at green-white checkers, as there are a total of 3 if needed, as drivers will have the green-white checkered here today. 2 laps to try to make some moves for one another. It's going to be a crazy one. If you've got a driver or a team you're rooting for, put it in the chat. We're excited for how this first race of the season is going to go. It's going to be a short one. Only 10 races this season, and we're about to knock one down already. First attempt, Brian, I mean, I'm looking at some of these guys. I'm looking, and I think Bradley Wilson might be one of those guys. Adam Baker. They really are kind of the furthest back I could think that can make some moves forward. But Brian Seaborn, I'm liking his chances. It just looks like he might have been overdriving for those last about 5 laps. That really could have been killing his tires compared to the drivers in front of him.
Well, Sam, I think based on what we've seen from the previous restarts, the only people that I think realistically have a chance without some type of contact or wreck from the front 2 are going to be James Loveland and Brian Seaborn. They have to time this perfectly. If they've ever nailed a restart in their life, they're going to have to nail this one to have a chance to catch Eric Hutton, because the leader's been able to just take off every single restart, having the decision of when the field restarts. Been able to get such a good jump, and if he can get ahead and not be side by side going into the corner, it's pretty much his race. Like you said, it takes about 2 laps or so before the second place car can really contend and catch back up, make up the ground. If James Loveland or Brian Seaborn can nail this restart and keep toe with him, I think they've got a chance to make something happen on the last lap.
The question also was, where's Hutton going to go? Is he going to start low or is he going to go high? We've seen all of our leaders start high, but it looks like the 88 choosing the low lane. That's an interesting call to see.
I think maybe just trying to protect against some kind of a dive bomb to the inside, just that Hail Mary that I talked about earlier. I'm pretty sure the reason they've been taking the outside is there's a lot less risk for the wheel spin on the older tires. We'll have to see how well Eric is able to manage that. Maybe Anthony Pelican can get a really good restart here and reclaim the lead and actually, kind of seal this one up and not have that late caution there, just kind of catch him out and make it all for naught.
Well, it's still going to be a wild one. A total of 30 drivers on the lead lap, as Burkluck was going to be the first driver. Brookhell was going to be the first driver with the lucky dog there. And so this is our first attempt. We'll see. Is this the one and only time we'll have a green-white checkered here tonight? Or will we need more? Hutton able to get a great launch for himself, but it wasn't the biggest launch we've seen all night, which is going to be giving Pelican a chance if he has enough tires to make that move. Loveland going to be going high, as well as Seaborn, as so far our top 5 all single filed out. And Hutton, he's got to be feeling that pressure because Pelican is there, and you never know if he's going to use the bumper or not. Coming out of 4, it's going to be the white flag coming out.
Well, if Anthony Pelican's going to give him the bumper, he's going to have the best turn 1 and 2 that he's had the entire race. Just that managed the gap, but it looks like Eric Hutton holding that second lane there, going to get a run, but Pelican, great run out of 2 there. He might be within range.
He's going to have to really send it into this corner, which he does. He's going to be right at the bumper, but just not close enough to give it a bump, which is now going to be giving Eric Hutton the win of round number 1 here at Iowa for the U.S. Freemasonry 150. Great job for Eric Hutton. Pelican going to be able to get second, Loveland third, and the rest of them scatter behind.
Everybody's wrecking trying to get across the finish line there. It looked like Alex Pelican brought it home 8th, sliding across the start-finish line, trying to get all he could coming out of turn 4.
An absolute just madness there. A lot of drivers, once the white flag flew, you never knew where the back half of the field was going to finish. A lot of drivers, and the Adamans are going to have fun with this one, rewatching and seeing where everyone from about 5th on back is going to finish. But for up front, it is going to be Eric Hutton doing a great job for the 88 car. And, I saw him stepping up there in that 40-lap green flag run we had coming to the end of stage 1. And I wasn't sure if that was for real or just because of the way the tires were turning out. And at the end, really, the rest of this race, he was up front, showing that he had pace. He just needed to get by Anthony Pelican. And once he did, never looked back.
Yeah, the well-timed caution came out when he had the nose ahead. He made that inside lane pay off and caught the luck that he needed to make it pay off for him and was able to hold him off. That was a great move and great pace, really all race from the 88. So pretty well-deserved win, I think, for that team.
Absolutely spectacular. Well, you got to see the 153 laps here at Iowa, but just in a few moments, we're going to be talking to our top 3, Eric Hutton, Anthony Pelican, and James Loveland in just a few. We'll see you in a couple seconds. And we are back after watching an incredible race that went to a green-white checkered here for below the double yellow Xfinity Series. For race number 1, we do not have our winner for interviews, but we do have second and third place. We'll be starting it off here with James Loveland. James, it's Sam up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, you came up just a little bit short. You looked great in those first about 30 laps, and then you had to come into pit road. It looked like lap traffic was one of your biggest struggles from lap 30 to the end of the race.
Yeah, it was. I had a little held up there, but going 3 wide and stuff, and I didn't want to wreck the car. I didn't want to cost a good, solid race. So.
Yeah, I mean, James went into a green-white checkered situation, and you were up there in the second row. What was going through your mind trying to set up for that last attempt?
I was hoping those leaders would have got into each other. Just starting on the inside line was not good. I mean, you were lucky if you got to hold your spot, but if not, you lost a position or two. But, you know, all in all, I'm glad with the finish. You know, it's the first time in the league, so.
Yeah, first time in the league and, you know, first race of the season. How was it trying to adapt to a lot of the drivers that were in this league? I know there's a lot of new guys coming in. There were some old guys that were used to one another. How was it for yourself?
It was pretty good. I heard in the back they were a little bit angry with each other, but yeah, I know a couple guys in here. They're great guys, and they were cool, and a lot of the drivers were cool. They didn't get into me or nothing. Clean racing, and I'm happy with it.
A very solid run for yourself. Got a third place finish. But before we let you go, any sponsors you want to thank?
Yeah, thank you guys for broadcasting this. Every race I'm in, you guys do a great broadcast. Like to watch the replays, and just thank this below the double yellow league for giving us some of these drivers a shot to run in this league. Fun league to start. Hopefully it continues to be fun, and try to get a few wins out of this.
Can't wait to see what you're going to continue to do there, James. Go to Texas next week, and good luck there.
Yep, thank you.
And then we also have second place of, and we have our winner, of Eric Hutton. And now we've got Eric Hutton. We're going to be bringing in Eric. It's Sam up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, you had to make a move right before that caution came out, gave you a shot. What was going through your mind there in that final restart?
Yeah, you know, it was a good race in there with 98. I think I had him in turn 1 and 2, and he had me in 3 and 4. And yeah, I just really got lucky with that caution there. I was able to get a run on him out of 2 and just timed the caution right to get ahead of him. And then, you know, final restart, you can get a pretty good jump there and finish it out.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that you had to really work your way through the field, really in that end of stage 1. Did you feel like that was helping you a lot for the rest of the race after stage 1?
Yeah, you know, with the way the setup was, you really had to take care of the right front. And, you know, going through the field, I drove pretty hard and was able to feel that I was killing the right front. And you know, you kind of use that feeling for the rest of the run to gauge on how hard you're pushing that right front.
It was absolutely incredible to watch you climb your way through, and you know, you won the first race of the season, only a 10-race season. I mean, how much does that really take pressure off for you, knowing that, you know, you're starting off the best that you can here at the start?
Yeah, it's definitely good to have that momentum going into the rest of the season. Yeah, I think Iowa is probably one of my better tracks, so you know, you just gotta carry that momentum through the rest of the season and see what you can do.
Well, Eric, before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout-outs.
I just want to say thank you to the league for putting this series on, and thanks to all the sponsors they bring in, and big shout out to my teammates Lane, Lyle, and Jeremiah. He was really fast there and got killed under caution. Not sure what happened there, but yeah.
Well, Eric, a great way to start off, and good luck next week at Texas.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, Brandon got to watch an incredible race. What a way to start the season off. Got to see a green-white checkered attempt. What were some of your final thoughts?
Well, Iowa, not one of my favorite tracks, but these guys put on one heck of a show. Really handling really dealing with ill-handling race cars pretty well. Quite a few cautions, but it's to be expected at a short track like this. Really excited to get to Texas. Know how challenging that track can be with these Xfinity cars with the different banked corners, and gonna be interesting to see how these guys are able to adapt to that and who makes the correct adjustments during the race to find the most speed that they can to get to the front and get that win.
Yeah, it is going to be a fun one. Like I said, it was a ill-handling car, but the driver's able to hold on, and it was going to be Hutton getting the win and having that momentum. It's a great way to start off a 10-race season. It's going to be a quick one, but like we've said, Texas next week, excited for it, and cannot wait for how this race is going to go. Here is your final results on how this race went. It was Eric Hutton, as well as Pelican, Loveland, Seaborn, as well as Ferries, and Wilson, Baker, and Pelicans, again, Alex Pelican going to be in 8th place. 9th is going to be Faircloth, as well as Maine's going to be in 10th place.
And 11th place is going to be Dylan Teal. 12th, Dallas Sullivan. 13th, Timothy Emanuel. 14th, Kevin McCarvey. 15th, Jordan Sepler. 16th, Nick Gardner. 17th, Jacob Houston. 18th, Alan Dice. 19th, Kyle Payne. And 20th, Brett Summers.
And then Jeremiah Vincent able to be getting that 21st position with Chris Wheeler, Nick Alves, Mark Beverly, as well as Steele. And then you've got Sulford as well, Fried, as well as Oskowitz, and then a lot of other drivers here on out. Really, we're hoping for better days. Brockel as well as Gilmore going to be leading off the rest of your lead lap cars. Everyone else went a lap down. Heavy damage for the rest of them.
Yeah, Francisco Cortuno in 30th. Sorry, we're going to have to get with Francisco there and get a correct pronunciation. But Lyle Suffrage, Joshua Abe, Justin Carey, Nick Starling, Kyle McGarvey, Brendan Pearl, Thomas Brendel, and Cody Atkins to round out your field. Not having the best nights tonight at Iowa.
Yeah, they're going to be really trying to step it up and have a better run at Texas. But it's been a blast from us, and now we're going to hand it over to Robert A. Moyer.
All right, thank you guys. Thank you. Hopefully everybody enjoyed the show here tonight. I do want to give a shout out to this league for letting Freaky Fast be a part of this league of below the double yellow. Yeah, whatever. I get it all messed up. And I told Sam and Brandon it's a tongue twister to me, but I'll eventually learn it. But anyways, I do want to say thank you to them for letting Freaky Fast be a part of this. Thank you guys for joining me up here in the booth. Hopefully everybody enjoyed the show here tonight. I know there was a little bit of technical problems on the YouTube side of things that did get all cleared up. So thank you for sticking by and following through the rest of the stream on YouTube side, and we do much appreciate it, and we do apologize for that. But next time Freaky Fest will be live here will be tomorrow night with ARCA Cars, with Adrenaline Racing League, with Zach Hall, Brandon Cawley again here calling the action, and then we go for the doubleheader at 9:20. We will be with RSR Cups. With the Evolution Racing League with Zach Hall and Brandon Cawley calling double action tomorrow night at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. But until then, we want to say to everybody out there again, thank you very, very much for all the subscribes, follows, and likes, and we will catch you next Monday night and hopefully through the week. But until then, God bless everybody. We love you all. Peace out.
What you think about when you're born into a fire? Let them burn it out. Sell them to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away, fade away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. Listen up now, because we're never dropping out. Beat the odds, beat the big house. Our brains are bigger than the doubt. We've been thinking for ourselves, never let the truth fade away.